I'd like to welcome you all into my presentation. The topic of my presentation is factors affecting the efficacy of timed artificial insemination protocols in Nepalese buffaloes. So this slide shows some important Nepalese buffalo breeds, like we have some native breeds. This is the indigenous, we call it Lime. There are in fact 3 types of indigenous breeds in Nepal: Lime, Parkote, and Gaddi. This is a typical Lime breed. And also we have in Nepal, the southern part of Nepal, which borders with India, we have this Indian Murra. We call this exotic. There are pure Indian Murra as well as the crossbreds of Indian Murra. This is the crossbred Indian Murra in the university farm where I'm working. So these all types of domestic buffaloes in Nepal are water buffaloes. They are the Buiatrics type. Now, why the buffaloes are important in Nepal? They are the most important livestock species in Nepal because they contribute more than 70% to country's total milk production. It's quite a huge contribution, and 60% to country's total meat production that comes from buffalo. So the national agricultural livestock economic wise, this is a huge contribution that comes from buffalo. Therefore, enhancing buffalo production is crucial for food and economy of the country. Now, one of the major problems with buffalo is, as Professor Shamsuddin highlighted this morning, the breeding seasonality. In Nepal, generally August to November is considered the good breeding season, December to February is the transition season, and March to June, July is the low breeding season. You can see in this figure, this chart, the buffaloes, they didn't pasturate. There was no calving in the month of February and March. This means that around this time period, it is very hard to breed the buffalo. If we combine this seasonal anistus problem with summer infertility of dairy cows, it is obvious that the country suffers a severe drop in milk production in spring as well as in the early summer. So that's why we have the flush season and the lean season of milk production in the country. So when we try to see what was the problem, so we can see this is starting from the month of January, February, March, April, up to the month of June, July. The problem of true anistos with inactive ovaries means the ovary was not functioning, was not active. This was the major problem around this time. And the silent estrus, however, even during good breeding time, the problem of silent estrus was common in buffalo. So this is the baseline information we published, and this suggests us to use different strategy for active and low breeding season to overcome the reproductive problems. So as it was mentioned in the morning session, like time artificial insemination protocols are the best tool to overcome the challenge of estrus detection for insemination and to increase fertility in buffaloes around the year. However, it is quite obvious that there are so many factors that may compromise the efficacy of time artificial insemination protocols. This is common in every country and also common in Nepal as well. However, in Nepal so far, the studies have not been either conducted or not the plenty of information we have in case of buffalo. So that's why the objective of our study was to understand some factors affecting the efficacy of time artificial insemination protocols in Nepalese buffaloes. So in methodology and the time artificial insemination protocols, we used total of 99 buffaloes in the university farm as well as in the premises of the university. We measured the body condition score using a standard 1 to 5 scale that can be used, that is used also in case of dairy cattle. And we measured body condition score prior to applying the protocols. Now, these are the 2 protocols we applied. One is the ovicing protocol. We all of us, we know it, in which like the GNRS on day 0, then 7 PGF2 alpha, day 9 GNRS, then on day 10, after about 15 to 20 hours, we go for fixed time insemination. So this overfishing protocol was applied during good breeding season because, as I mentioned, like in good breeding season, most of the animals they were cyclic animals, and also the problem was of the silent ovulation. And this protocol is considered a good one in case of the cyclic animals. However, in other two seasons, the transition season as well as in the low season, because the ovary remains inactive as I showed in the previous slide, so this protocol may not work. That's why we applied another protocol, cedar coursing protocol, in which we use cedar in between. This is almost a similar protocol with the ovary, but here from day 0 to day 7 use cedar. Then day 7 we remove the cedar and give PGF2 alpha injection. Then 72 hours after removal of cedar, on day 10, we go for fixed time AI and also give the second dose of GNRS. That's why this is coursing protocol, and we use ultrasonography to confirm ovulation as well as to confirm the pregnancy. Now, out of those buffaloes, 42 buffaloes, 14 in each season were used for blood sampling, and the blood was used to measure the nutritional parameters of glucose, total protein, cholesterol, as well as we measure the stress factor cortisol in the laboratory using the specific kits. Transrectal ultrasonography was used to confirm ovulation and the presence of corpus luteum in the ovary between 7 to 10 days of time artificial insemination, and to confirm pregnancy as well. So the data analysis, non-parametric data of BCS were analyzed using chi-square test and pregnancy percentage by Fisher exact test. Blood nutritional and cortisol parameters during 3 different seasons were analyzed by one-way ANOVA followed by post-hoc for least significant difference. And their main group, the main values between pregnant and non-pregnant were compared by students' t-test. So this is the result, like even during the low breeding season, by using this cedar coursing protocol, we can see buffalo showing a very good estrus sign with a very clear vaginal discharge at the time of artificial insemination. Now, the overall conception rate was during good season with ovary protocol was 43%. 51% during transition season was 50% with coursing protocol, cedar coursing protocol, and during poor season, low season, using cedar coursing protocol was more than 40%. So protocol-wise variation is almost similar outcome was there during good season with ovary and during transition and low breeding season with cedar coursing, almost close to 50% and close to 45% conception was achieved. So if we look at the effect of body condition score on the conception rate after treatment, it's quite obvious, like buffalo having less than 2.5, in between 2.5 to 3.75, we consider the best body condition score for breeding, and more than 3.75. Like most of the animals conceiving were in this group, 2.5 to 3.75, and the association was quite significant. Now, if we compare the nutritional parameters season-wise during good season, transition season, and poor season, look at this, the level of cholesterol. The level of cholesterol was quite low during low breeding season. And similarly, the cortisol level was quite high during this season, indicates that the stress is quite high during low breeding season. And as I mentioned, like the low breeding season that starts from the month of March and up to the middle of June, that is quite environmental effect, environmental temperature, as well as the availability of feed and fodder is also quite less. So this may be because of the effect of low availability of the nutrition as well as the changing temperature, rapid changing temperature. Now, if we compare the blood nutritional parameters and cortisol level between pregnant and non-pregnant group of buffaloes, it's quite significant difference was observed with the level of glucose between pregnant and non-pregnant. Level of cholesterol was it tended to be different, and the protein was significantly different. And although like the cortisol in between pregnant and non-pregnant was not significantly different, although the numerical value was higher in non-pregnant animal. So with conclusion, like this CEDA protocol during transition and low breeding season is as effective as ovicing protocol during good season Nepalese buffaloes. However, it is obvious that the outcome depends largely on nutritional and stress factors. There are so many literatures from India and some other parts of the world in buffalo. This is quite obvious that even if we try to use the modern reproductive technology, assisted reproductive technology, the failure or the success of the technology depends largely upon the nutritional status of the animal and the stress factor that affects the animal. So I would like to acknowledge my university as well as some other agencies, Colorado State University for the partial support of for this study, and this Professor Yoji Onami, Kitasato University, Yoshiaki Izai, Iwate University, Japan, they contributed the CEDAR device, and Professor Motoki Sasaki and Matsui Sensei, Professor Matsui from Obihiro University for financial support to attend and present this data in this Congress. So thank you very much for your attention. The last slide, I have one very good information, like 2 years later in 2020, for the first time in its history, Nepal is organizing 10th Asian Buffalo Congress in Nepal. So I would like to welcome you all in Asian Buffalo Congress in Nepal. Let us make the Congress a grand success. We'll try our best to organize in the best way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.